Hey, what's up, guys? I get caught up on topics, and I notice myself getting caught up on them. And the problem is I'll make a video, I'll do one, and next thing I know, I get some comments, some other things pop into my head, right? Because it's interesting how people take stuff, right? And so I always figure, like, is there anything left to talk about fishing ever? Then all of a sudden I look up and I'll have like 10 new topics pop up, and it's way people perceive things. It's way maybe I talk about things, and a lot of times there's not enough info. Even in a 20-minute long video, there's still not enough info to really explain exactly maybe what I'm talking about, or things that might help you to basically look at fishing in a different way. Okay, and here's what I'm talking about. I've done a video sort of like this. I talked about it, and it was more about the tournament scene, about practicing and what happens when you get out there practicing and have these good days. Like, it was more in the lines of when you have these good days and then all of a sudden you have these bad days on tournament days, and what changed, right? And about how we seem to overlook some things. Well, what we overlook is the day, right? The day of how good the fishing day actually is. So that's what I kind of wanted to talk about, because we got into a little bit of all kinds of stuff. So my last videos were like instincts on the water, trust your gut, moreover stuff of like, what should we do on the water? Like, how are we learning? Are we really learning anything by tip videos? All these different things, right? Throwing some truth bombs in there that actually went over pretty well. I was shocked, actually, just because it's YouTube and we all know how that is. So this is the one that I wanted to tie in a little bit of both of those, right? And it was about these fun days on the water, okay? And here's the problem. So back when I was younger, we were fishing tournaments all the time on Livingston. And what I realized is that I wouldn't go out there and try to figure out fish on Livingston. I was out there a lot. So I was always trying to figure out new ways to catch them, right? Something different. So I could look at a couple boat docks and I would never go hit those boat docks, right? Ever. I mean, I knew I was going to save them for the tournament, and I had all these places I was going to save. And what I would end up doing was fishing all this other stuff constantly, always checking out new things. It wasn't really ever good. There was a reason, because I knew where kind of fish were. But what would happen is my goal that day was to like find one thing, just one little thing that would help me better in a tournament, like catch more fish on the stuff I already kind of knew, or maybe I'd find a new spot or a new boat dock or whatever it might be. So I'd always go to like different parts of the lake, different things, always trying new stuff. But when you do that, you don't really catch fish most of the time. Like, it's not fun. It's not fun in the fish catching aspect, right? I, though, enjoy tournament fishing. So like the enjoyment and the fun part for me was figuring something new out. Like, I got more enjoyment out of that than catching, say, an 8-pounder. So I bring up these days on the water of what do we really learn on the water, right? Like, so what are we trying to learn? And what I noticed is this, is back to those days of those good days. Man, we go out there and we sling whatever we want to sling around, right? It's that day we want to go throw a top water and it's cloudy, and we crush them, right? And we learn some things on those cloudy days, but I would say for the most part, cloudy days aren't the typical, right? We have less cloudy days than sunny days. And even then, like say it was raining or whatever, it's usually a low pressure system. Low pressure systems usually are less than high pressure systems. Like, high pressure systems tend to stick around longer. So what ends up happening is we learn on the really, really good days on how to catch fish. But those are the days you could have probably thrown a spinnerbait, a topwater, a swim jig. Like, you could have thrown a whole bunch of different baits that day and caught them. And that's good, don't get me wrong. And those are fun days. But those aren't the days that are typical, right? We have more tough days than good days. And the tough days are the days I'm talking about. The tough days are the days I always wanted to go out there and figure them out. Because if I could figure them out on the tough days, how many could I catch on the easy days, right? I mean, the easy days became, instead of catching like 20 or 30 fish, I might catch 60 fish on easy days, right? So my whole philosophy was, let's figure out how to catch them so good on the tough days that the easy days are really easy, and then the tough days become not so tough. It's not exactly easy to go do. Like, that's not fun. The days it gets so hot in the summertime where you go out there and you look up and there's no one else on the water because it's so hot and everyone went in. You can tell that it's tough. Like, I view that all the time now on some of my lakes. When I look up and I see no boats going around, I see them in the morning, and then in the afternoon I almost see none. I know it's been tough. I can tell it's been tough, and then I can see everyone else how they're not out there anymore. Those are the days that make me want to stay out there even longer and grind out even harder, because those are the days that if you can figure them out, those are good. All right, I had to go to my backyard. Guys were doing some lawn work in the front. And the problem is I'm getting ready for a tournament right now. Like, I've got all my stuff out, and I wanted to do this video because I had thought about it over the weekend, and I'm getting all my stuff ready. We're traveling to Texoma. So it made me want to do this video because I was thinking, I looked at the weather and I was like, oh man, 5-mile-an-hour winds. It's going to be dead sunny every day. We're going to hit a lot of those tougher days, right? And those tougher days, that's the days I want to focus on a lot more. So, like I said, this video ties in to a bunch of different stuff about instincts and all these things. But instincts, like I said, even instincts for me on these tough days, I'm always trying to learn something. I'm always trying to figure something out on those tough days. And so that's where I focus so much more of my energy. Now I bring this all the way back around to about when I talked about when I was younger, growing up on Livingston, fishing on them tough days. My buddy didn't have the same job schedule as me, right? And he had to work all the time. And so when he got to practice, it was tough on him. And he was like, man, I work, I finally get a day off, and I'm supposed to go shake off fish and not go to where it's good. I'm like, yeah, if you want to win this tournament, that's what we need to do. Like, and I always felt bad for him, man, because he didn't want to go do that, right? He's like, man, I get a day or two off. I want to go catch some fish, not shake everything off and go spend all my time out there looking for new stuff, not finding new stuff. I get it. Like, I get it. But y'all are wanting to learn. Like, a lot of y'all on YouTube want to learn things. I mean, it's pretty much the number one thing. Maybe some of it's entertainment, right? There's some entertainment on YouTube on fishing. It's got to be really good, I'll admit. Because, I mean, I'm going into another video on, like, Bassmaster going to smallmouth lakes. I got a view on it that might be popular. No, I think it's going to be popular. I really do. I think there'll be some guys get upset about it on the smallmouth lakes, but they can get upset all they want to. What I'm going to say is truth, right? It's going to be some more truth bombs, like my last video. So my point to all that is I know it's not easy, and I know going out there and not getting bit isn't the most fun, but you learn. You learn more on tough days than you do on easy days. You just do. Because you might figure out 10 different things on the easy days, but they don't translate over the next day sometimes. The tough days when it's really hard, you get 4 or 5 tough days in a row, you can go figure out how to catch fish 4, 5, 6 days in a row. And that's the difference. That's the difference in the tough days and the easy days. That's the difference between some of these tournament fishermen about figuring them out, is because I try to go figure out them in like the hardest conditions possible, like the hottest, dead sunny, dead calm days. You figure out how to catch fish then, man, everything else becomes really, really easy, guys. I mean, you know, I don't want to compare this to, like, I know not to compare it to like athletics or stuff about guys in the military, but in the same fashion, because guys, let's be honest, I'm not comparing military and fishing and about how hard something is, but the idea behind it is this: is if those guys in the military train so hard for for the worst possible experience of their life. That if they can do that, everything else is easier to them. Like everything. It's still not easy, but it's easier. And they already know they've already been able to endure all the hardest training, and they've been through the worst things possible that none of us could even imagine. That at least when they get put in a situation, they're able to deal with it better. I mean, I know it's not the same. I'm not comparing the two, but it is a little bit. Just look for that little bit of little comparison. Same thing with fishing. If you go out there in the hardest possible times, the worst conditions, not like blowing hurricane conditions. I'm talking about sometimes it's the dead calm, sunny, hot, just sweat and it's just impossible to get a bite. If you can figure out how to get a couple bites those days, then man, you can always get bit. Like everything else becomes, I'm just telling you, becomes easier. Fishing becomes easier after that. And so I think I've put myself through enough of the horrible, most worst days ever, and I've learned a couple things. Because you can still get bit. I promise you, you still get bit on those days. The problem is so many people want to keep doing what they're used to doing because they look back at their instincts and things that they've done in the past and how to get bit, but they didn't compare the 2 days right? They got bit on the days that were easy and didn't like find deep inside, go back to the memory bank on those tough days that they got a bite. That's what's going to help y'all. Promise you. That's what's going to help y'all. So like I said, I said that last one, like embrace the suck. Man, do that. Look at those tough days and go, okay, I'm going to go out there and figure something out today. Hopefully. You might not. Now, I mean, I got stories about how I've been out there for days and not figured something out. But when I did, you know that little grain of sand I always talk about? Yeah, that gets put away. And I get to come back on that. So maybe this helps, guys. Like I said, take that. Don't get discouraged. Keep grinding. And when you see everyone else rolling to the boat ramp and it's hot and it's nasty and they don't want to stay out there any longer, stay out there. Stay out there, man. Those are the days. Those are the days I look around and just start smiling, going, oh, yeah, y'all don't want none of this day. Y'all don't want this day. Figure them out on those days, you're golden. Promise. Guaranteed. And hopefully I won't have any of those up there when we're going next week. Because, yeah, I want to go have some fun too, right? We all want to go have some fun. But if it is tough, I got something for them. I can promise you that. All right. Go get ready for this thing. See y'all.